Alright, first off, I'd like to thank Holy Cross Vision Council on joining us today. My name is Marshall Skeeters, and I am the group manager of Team BravoCharlie, and alongside me are my very hardworking colleagues, Nicole Cloutier, and the Copperweight, Mike Vitari, and Adam Mugatai. Today, we're going to be discussing the overall implementation of the Spring 2013 service project that the Holy Cross Vision Council has teamed up with us, students at the SMB for. In this presentation, we're going to give you a general overview of the actual problem at hand and what we've been working on throughout the semester. Then we're going to transition to the primary research methods that we used in conducting the overall demographic that we honed in on. Then we're going to transition to the secondary research, which was the themes that we really focused on in specifying a certain demographic that we will mention later in the recommendations. From that, we will go to findings and conclusions that were derived from the primary and secondary research, which will lead to the ultimate recommendations that we will provide for you and really upstarting and implementing this project from spring 2013 and beyond. Now, the Holy Cross Vision Council, yourselves, your mission is to provide support for those who face alienation, immigration, and with that, we have taken that into great consideration in finding a group demographic to ultimately hone in on. So, having said that, the problem at hand was you came to us as SMB students and asked for help in implementing a service project that included the entire SMB, faculty, students, and staff. And with that, we took your needs and basically implemented a semester-long project that really focused in on, like I said earlier, a certain demographic that is faced with alienation and subjugation. The primary research is going to be something we go into depth, and we're going to go through data analysis and data collection, and I'm going to hand it off to Nicole to go more in depth about how we conducted that and derived our secondary research.
Hi, I'm Nicole Cloutier, and I'm going to take you guys through the primary research that we did. Our first step was to figure out who we needed to research. So we obviously needed to look at the School of Management and Business. We looked at the students, the undergrad, graduate, and new college students, as well as the faculty and staff. Overall, there's a total of 1,650 members of the School of Management and Business. And this is in the chart. This is a breakdown of the separate groups that we have. The second step that we took was to figure out how we were going to research this group. And what we did was we decided to create a survey to pass out because we decided that would be the quickest way to get the most data from these people. We, to get a 95% confidence level, we found that we would need to distribute 300 surveys to the 1,650 members. We ended up administering 313, and they were broken down so that each group was equally weighted. And when we ended up receiving those surveys back, we had 289 valid surveys. Okay, so the surveys themselves were compiled of 10 questions that were they were created by the class members of the business communications class. And we took the best 10 questions that we all agreed on, and those made up the survey. The survey had questions about previous volunteer work that had been done by the person taking the survey, as well as what that person would like to do in future volunteer work. Questions like, which age group would you like to work with? What kind of service would you like to do, passing out food, reading, talking to young children? Those questions were on the survey. And each member of each team was given 13 surveys to pass out, and they had a specific group to give those surveys to. In the primary data collection process, we found a couple of errors. Because we had 313 distributed and 289 valid, obviously there's 24 there that were filled out wrong, were incomplete, so we didn't use those in the data that we used. And also, we had about 4 questions on the survey that were, the survey instructed you to fill out from 1 to 3, 3 being the highest rating, which you would like to participate in. So for example, if the question said, which age group do you prefer to work with on a rating from 1 to 3, 3 being the highest, you know, A, teen, B, elderly, 3, family, C, child. We had intended the survey takers to answer 1, 2, and 3, you know, but we gave them about 5 options to choose from, and what we found was many of the survey takers answered and put a number for each option. So we were getting, you know, 2, 3 ratings or 2 ratings of 2. And what we did when we tallied the answers on our surveys was we just counted each option that had a 3 answer next to it. And that's kind of how we fixed that error. So once we got all of the surveys that were valid back, there's 289, each student in the class was given an equal amount of surveys, and we tallied the answers on the surveys, and we added all those tallies up together to get the final data. And Mike Atari is going to elaborate more on the findings of that right after Emily takes us through the secondary research that we did.
Okay, as Marshall stated, I'm Emily Copperway, and I'm going through the secondary research. First, we had to define disadvantaged youth to help find companies and foundations that we were willing to work with. So we defined it as any children or youth, young adults under the age of 25 who were either recently graduated from school and had no employment with little or no sufficient means of support. And then also the risk of leaving school, whether it be they were not happy with the education or they felt the need to help their family at home. And then lastly, or first, the little or no proficiency in English and children with mental or physical disabilities. Narrowing down the foundations, we narrowed it down to Caring for Good Kids, A Lot of Love Foundation, and the one we chose, Glimmer of Hope. Glimmer of Hope provided us with multiple volunteer options. Either you could work with the kids in art, teaching them, mentoring them, or helping them understand the importance of health and sports. So we chose that one, and it allowed for multiple times, which we will go further into when Mike Atari demonstrates the findings and research. Thank you, Emily.
Okay, so now I'm going to go over findings and conclusions. So our conclusions and findings are based on primary research using surveys, and the secondary research using websites and scholarly journals. So we asked SMB members how many hours they would like to volunteer a month. The findings showed they would like to volunteer 1 to 4 hours per month. And there were 8 preferred groups that we listed on the survey: elderly, immigrants, disabled, impoverished, homeless, and disadvantaged youth. And out of those 8 choices, SMB members showed the most interest in disadvantaged youth. And we also asked SMB members which age group they're willing to work with. And we listed 5 options here: children, teens, adults, elderly, and family. And they show the most interest in assisting children. And lastly, we asked SMB members how they want to spend time with those children. They said they would like to spend time with them, playing or reading to them, or listening to music, or they would like to provide food to those children. A Glimmer of Hope is an organization that focuses on young people and senior adults who suffer from exclusion, social justice, neglect, abandonment, and educational disadvantages. And they are committed to make differences in the area of healthcare, education, life skills, fine arts, safety, and basic needs. The Holy Cross Vision Council's mission, as Marshall has already mentioned, is to aid populations in need of human intervention, cure and support, and to benefit those suffering from displacement, alienation, and migration. So what is disadvantaged youth? The definition of disadvantaged youth are those who are economically disadvantaged, out of school, in or out of foster care, homeless or who run away from home, former juvenile offenders, and individuals with disabilities. So those are our conclusions and findings from primary and secondary research, and I'm going to hand it over to Adam.
Hello, everybody. I'm going to talk about the recommendations. So I'll talk about three things today: the needs of the ATVC and the SMB, the ideal recipe to come up with the recommendations, and finally the recommendations. The Holy Cross Vision Council wanted us to come up with a service project for the spring 2013. Their goal was to find a project that would not only motivate students, faculty, and staff at St. Edward's University to help other people, but also to work with some group or organization to serve a cause. School of Management and Business, we found out through primary research that they were willing to work with us and volunteer if they were working, or if they volunteered for 1 to 4 hours, maximum once a month. They also said that they were willing to help disadvantaged youth, and what they would like to do is donate food and just spend time with them. So the ideal recipe to come up with the recommendations would be to take the primary research that we did, the secondary research, and the needs of the ATVC and the SMB, and combine them together, and find out what are the most effective ways to take our resources and come up with a solution. So the recommendations that we suggest are, this is just an idea of what we're going to do, is every Saturday, once a month, we're going to get the students, faculty, and staff to work from 1 to 4 hours, depending on how much time and work is needed. Focus primarily on distributing food and other common necessities, which I'll talk about later. And we're going to take time to simply accompany all those in need and help them. How we're going to do that, I'll also mention. Implementation. So that was how we're going to, that's just the general idea of what we need to do. But how are we going to actually carry that out? So we looked at a number of organizations in local Austin area that actually work with people who want to that actually work with disadvantaged youth. And we looked at many organizations with a lot of experience, and we wanted to find an organization that matched our needs, and also someone who was good at what they were doing. So we looked at their current projects, past projects, and we saw, these people not only just carry out their own projects, but work with other local Austin organizations and to help the disadvantaged youth. And we found a Glimmer of Hope in Austin, which Maya talked about. So what do we do with them? Well, they have a bunch of projects. And the current project that they do is the Kids Cafe at the Capital Area Food Bank. What we can do is help them over there, because that's what the student, faculty, and staff of the SMB want to do, is to donate food and help out as much as possible over there. So what do we donate? Well, we can donate canned foods, tuna, anything perishable, healthy, non-perishable food. Stuff like canned meats, as I mentioned, pasta sauce, beans, healthy cereals, and peanut butter. These are actually the preferred items that they requested. So this is not what we want, this is what they want. So this gives us a better idea of what we can donate. And we also wanted to volunteer. which was one of the highly motivated things that we wanted to do, or the students, faculty, and staff wanted to do. So how can we volunteer? We can sort donations, we can serve the clients, we can teach classes to those disadvantaged youth, we can even assist at special events such as the Kids Cafe, and we can serve as ambassadors and help promote their organization. And how do we do that? How are we going to volunteer? Where? So we can volunteer in product recovery where we gather food supplies. We can work at their many different cafes, such as the one at St. John Community Food Center. We can even work at the mobile food pantries that they have. They go around areas or neighborhoods and with just food, and we can help them with that. And we can also help them in the administrative offices, such as people who are good with marketing. They can help them market the organization, hold events, organize events. So we took the needs of the ATVC and the SMB and combined them together. We carried out primary research and secondary research, and we found those recommendations. But that's not it. See, we know that it's a project and we have to go out there and help people. But what we thought about something else is, how are we going to carry it out at St. Edward's University? See, the ATVC, how are they going to connect with the students, faculty, and staff of the SMB? Well, there's one thing that connects everybody at St. Edward's University, and that is St. Edward's EDU, the domain. So what we suggest is that we come up with another website or a page on our website for this project, especially for spring 2013, which is designed so that we can communicate our messages or the events or what the ATVC wants the students to do. Not only that, but also track the progress of the project, allocate time to the project, even let people submit their time that they've already put in, and we can come up with all this information, gather research to keep track of the progress of the project. And we suggest using St. Edward's EDU service. It's not been taken yet, so we can use that. And so our goal was to aid the Holy Cross Vision Council in implementing a service project. We found out the need, what was going to motivate the students, faculty, and staff of the SMB. And we also provided some recommendations that we think are most effectively going to be most effective. So with the help of our primary research, secondary research, we called a bunch of organizations. We found Kendra at Glimmer of Hope. She was really helpful. And a lot of research has been put into this, and we think that these are the most effective recommendations that we can provide you. These are not as, we try to keep them as manageable as possible, and we also try to find out ways to track progress. We've given you more detail in the reports, which we'll be giving to you shortly. But in the end, thank you for letting us give you our presentation, and we would like to thank Professor Michelle for helping us out, because without her, this would not have been possible at all. So thank you.
Do you guys have any questions for us?
Yes.
Yeah.
When you met with Glimmer of Hope, they apparently seemed amenable to working with us.
First, it was hard because we sent them an email on their, I guess, their main common address, email address.
Right.
So we didn't get a response. So we had to call them and ask for the marketing head of marketing, and that was Kendra. She said, go to our website, find the current projects and past projects, and what we can do is help you find. If you want, they can help us. Bring our volunteers and what we can donate, and they can work with us with that.
Okay.
So yeah, Kendra was pretty helpful.
So did they tell you what they needed, or did you recommend?
So the donating
did you
part?
recommend to them what we?
This came from her. So